So this is really about keeping the admin clean and keeping users happy, which kind of Mike covered on a little bit, and I'm going to cover a little more about how plugins, contributors, users, etc. can do better. Before I get started, about me, I have a little digital marketing agency here in New York called An Abstract NY. If you want to connect with me, that's like my Twitter and my Instagram handle. I'm a WordPress, I just recently last year became a WordPress marketing contributor, so I'm part of their marketing contribution team, helping figure out how to sell WordPress to agencies and users. I teach user experience at Thinkful. Thinkful is an online boot camp. You can do like a 6-month boot camp in front-end web development, and I manage the user experience courses. And then I teach 200 hours a year through ScriptEd and All-Star Code. ScriptEd and All-Star Code partner with high schools to teach underprivileged high school students how to code. This summer I'm doing a 6-week boot camp at Major League Baseball Media Association. So I'm going to be teaching like 30 kids like a 6-month, essentially we're doing like a 6-month boot camp in 6 weeks, so we'll see how that goes. And then I'm a Lead Pages copy blogger and certified content marketer. So Lead Pages is the most popular online landing page tool, and I'm certified through Conversion Expert Marketing through them, and Copy Blogger is one of the #1. If you're into any kind of copywriting and marketing, you probably saw them before, and Google, you might have heard of them. They're like a big marketing advertising company. Cool. So, first I want to touch on the state of the CMS admin. And touching on what Mike said before, WordPress is kind of losing the war as far as admins go. And when you talk to a lot of clients who use WordPress, if they don't know what kind of power it has, WordPress is a really powerful tool, right? It has a lot of integrations, it has a lot of extensibility, but sometimes clients just want a WordPress website that works, right? A client wants a simple 4-page website, and then you send them to WordPress.com, and they're sold, they all of a sudden are being asked to install 50 other plugins. They go and get, there's some hosts, I'm not going to name names, but when you install, a host comes with 10 recommended plugins that have all these great features that upgrade and ask you to buy, and they're not that great. And this is Squarespace's dashboard. It's really simple. They have a section, for their commerce section. There's no advertisements to get you to upgrade. There's no, just telling you to add products, create a shipping option, connect your payment, pull the switch and go live, and that's it. And that's all you need to do for e-commerce. WooCommerce could only dream of being that easy, right? And I'm not saying that this is a better product. WooCommerce is a more advanced tool, but you have to think about Squarespace is for, if I had a friend that came to me, and I live in Brooklyn, and a lot of my friends are artists, and artists don't have money, so I don't really work with them. So I just more recommend them to go to Squarespace, right? And I say, if you just want to sell your band t-shirts, get a Squarespace website, and I give them a bunch of articles to help them along the way. And if they buy me a beer, I answer some questions, right? The next thing is Shopify, right? And Shopify is a huge competitor. Shopify knows exactly what it is. And Shopify also realizes, and by the way, I recommend you check out the Shopify developer blog. They're trying to get WordPress developers to integrate Shopify into WordPress websites. They've created an open API to allow integration, and they also have a lot of developer resources. And you don't have, again, you can use whatever tool you want. It's more about if you get a client who already has Shopify, why turn them away? But the reason I put this up here was, this dashboard is really nice. As a user, if I log in and I just want to manage my store, I know exactly what's here. I have my orders today, orders yesterday, last 7 days, a report. I have my products, collections, discounts, maybe some gift cards, and then you can use WordPress with it. I don't know if this is a WordPress install, but blog post pages and then your themes, right? So it's a very simple dashboard. And then this is a couple versions of a typical WordPress dashboard, right? So we have whatever this embedder plugin is. We have a pro add-on responsive embedder. Google Analytics dashboard WP has been updated. Please check the documentation page and plugin settings. I'm pretty sure Google Analytics is a one-click install normally, but I don't know why I need to read documentation. Someone asked me to leave a review. Then there's these guys who I really hate, WPMU. And so they're asking you to they just take over your dashboard. And not only that, it's branded very garishly to let you know that you're using WPMU as if I didn't remember when I installed it, right? And every other thing you need from them. And you can argue all you want that this may be the way you want it to be. And if you're a smart user, right, then they should just be able to figure it out. But if anyone here has studied user experience design, and I highly recommend you read this book. I think it's free now because it's been out in public. It's been published for that long. Stephen Krug's "Don't Make Me Think," right? And one of the and there's a bunch of rules there, right? And the first rule is in the title: "Don't make me think." So it's not your user's fault that they are not doing a good job and don't understand how to use the WordPress admin. It's our fault, right? It's our fault that we're not making it easier for people. There's other reasons why it's bad. And I just added this one today because I was like, wow, that's a perfect example. Users get annoyed and apathetic, and then we get WannaCry. Does anyone want to raise their hand and tell me what WannaCry is? You told me first, go ahead.
It's that virus that's out and around.
Right, it's ransomware. And the number one reason is, and again, there's a couple reasons. The Asian market is mostly pirated software, so therefore those people couldn't update. But most people, there's like a very highly Googled topic, how to turn off automatic updates on Windows, right? And how many, I think Mike's still here, and he asked, how many people update their sites? And everyone said, like half raised their hands, right? And so that's why things like WannaCry happen. So we kind of have to make it, easy for users to, and by using things. Does everyone know the click-through rate of the first pop-up, the first banner ad? It was 99%. The first banner ad had a 99% click-through rate on Yahoo. And the reason was novelty, and also people weren't bored with it yet. The average click-through rate now, I think, is like 0.0000 repeating 1% for banner ads, right? Because you get blindness. And so the more notifications you put, people get blindness. It affects user retention. I didn't even know, before they said that 60% of people who install WordPress, they quit. They don't do anything with it, right? So that the less people that use WordPress, the worse it is for the community, right? And so if you're a plugin developer, you may argue, well, I got to put these notifications there to get new customers. Well, there's not going to be any customers if the market falls apart and no one wants to use, and someone comes along with a better thing to use than WordPress. It kills client success. You may build this beautiful website, and you're like, this is amazing, this looks great, it's super fast, it's super friendly for the front end, but if your client isn't going to use it, then what's the point, right? And then it gives, like I said, it gives other CMS's marketing material. Like you can just go into and there's why WordPress sucks, screw WordPress, blah, 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 all that other stuff, right? So, and even this I don't even think is great. This is like a default WordPress install, right? And so what I recommend, and again, it depends, and I'll show you how we'll go through it, but let's go from this to this. And I would even change, based on what Mike said too, maybe just changing posts to blog posts, or even just change the blog, right? This might be all that your blogger needs. Why do they need to see all that other stuff? Most of the users, and some people say, well, I want my client to be able to change the text size and the colors. If it's a professional website, how many times has the New York Times changed their font? How many times, has Amazon changed their font and their colors? I don't know. That's what I say to my clients when they go, why can't I change the font or the colors? And I say, get me a list of all your favorite websites that change their colors, and we'll do it. But it doesn't work that way. So how can we fix it, right? I recommend that we focus on the user. And so I'm going to give you guys tips for smart developers, tips for helpful admins, and savvy users, because the users are to blame too, right? We want a lot of users. They want a Swiss Army knife of a website, right? And then they get mad when the there's plugins. I can't think of Beaver Builder. There's certain plugins, right, that are Swiss Army knives, and they're so disorganized and hard to use. But how can anyone design it to work that way when you want every feature available, right? So, tips for plugin and theme developers. I recommend that you use the WP API for admin notices, only the WP API. The reason that no one has come up with a perfect block notices plugin is because that every plugin developer figures a way to weasel their stuff in there, right? Which is horrible. So essentially, someone would have to update a plugin every week to make sure that it blocks certain notices. Don't add custom styles. It doesn't look good ever. And so, WordPress is even getting that way now, where the front-end customizer, there's a standard set of rules, and you can't really change any of the design in the front-end customizer that I know of, right? Keep nags and notices to the plugin page. right? So all those things, like major updates, asking for reviews, asking for like any kind of stuff, leave it on the plugin page. There's no reason really for you to be asking for that like in the main dashboard. General usage information belongs in the README or the documentation. And you can look at like a lot of the best plugins that really do the best online. Can I take questions at the end?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So because I just want to make sure we're good on time. The best plugins, if you guys look at like really big, powerful plugins, one of the, Beaver Builder was mentioned before, right? Beaver Builder has a great community. They have a great Facebook group. It's easy to use. They used to have a really great forum. If you look at like one of my, pick list, Steve's plugin has great documentation, right? I wouldn't have used it if it didn't have great documentation. And so the more, documentation, the better stuff you have, users are going to go and look and find it. They're going to go on forums. They're going to go other places to look for it. And the better job you do marketing that, it's better than just having it in a dashboard and annoying people because they're blind to it anyway, right? And then if you must ask for donations, ratings, or recommend other plugins, keep it limited and make it have a big fat X. I just had a plugin that actually like called the guy out. So I can say Lead Pages so Lead Pages is that page builder for landing pages, right? They redesigned their plugin so that it literally made a full page that you couldn't X. And it was like the admin to add your landing page was this small, and then it was like a big ad this big. And I went on their Facebook group and I like started a thread that pissed the founder off because I just was like, you can't do that. That's not right, and that's why you're not in the plugin directory because you do bullshit like this. And he just, and they changed it, but he wasn't happy. But that's it. Like I'm going to call you out if I'm paying $500 a year for a plugin, right? And I'll get more into that. So tips for admins. This is basic stuff, and these are kind of like, these don't have to be done. I don't know if this is like perfect for user experience, but in my experience, it not only makes it better for the user, it also adds some premium value to it. If you're looking to, charge higher prices with your clients, but also to make it easier for people. A lot of people, when they log in, and I had this when I first started building WordPress websites, they said, okay, this is WordPress, where's my website? Right? And when you land there, you don't know that that is your website. And you could say, look at the URL. Has everyone ever been on Safari? Safari hides the URL and just puts the title tag, right? It just says dashboard, WP dashboard. So therefore, like, they don't know where they are. So make it easy, right? Don't make them think. Restrict admin access. So I recommend, you can give when you hand off the website, give them admin access, but restrict them only to editor access for their default login, right? I don't have a car now. When I did have a car, right, I had the ability to go into the hood. That didn't mean I popped it all the time when I checked and poked things around, right? So I tell clients, when I give them an admin password, I say, this is a developer password. This is not an admin password. I don't call it admin because I don't want them going and changing things. But you automatically, by giving them editor access only, you nix appearance, plugins, users, and settings because they don't need that every day, right? Then you can remove and reorder menu pages. It's if anyone's a developer, it's remove. You can remove menu page. Use the remove menu page function, and so you can remove certain things and reorder. There's other ways to reorder them using functions that are in the codex. I recommend this, and this is just like something to do if you are the admin for the website and it's your call. Just so that no one can mess around with it, it's a single line of code. Just disallow file edit on the WP config. That's a really easy thing to do. And it makes it so that you can just, on your local version, uncomment that line of code, and on the remote version, or the production version, just have that commented, uncommented. Cool. Remove any unused widgets. And what's really nice too is if you're, a lot of those widgets, I think WordPress has by default, it's like an analytics. No one really uses, I don't know anyone, if you use it, I apologize. No one uses WordPress analytics, everyone uses Google Analytics, right? They have quick posts. I don't know anyone that writes a post from the dashboard, right? They have all these little things that aren't really useful. But this also leaves room to where you can leave a message or instructions for your users. And these are a couple helpful plugins. I really love White Label CMS, because White Label CMS does everything except for the WP config change. And then it also does other couple cool things. it hides and forces screen options. Does everyone know what screen options is? When you go to create a post, on the top right there's a little button, and it lets you show, sometimes like when you go, there'll be like featured images missing, right? You go to the screen options and you check the box to show featured images. Well, white label CMS lets you define those by default. So for example, I hide post revisions from clients because in WP Engine they don't allow post revisions anyway. I hide, what else do I have? I hide the, so the meta boxes, kind of put custom meta boxes in there, so that's really great. It also allows dashboard branding, so you can, in the dashboard, instead of the WordPress logo, have their logo. And then I add this thing called video user manuals. So in the dashboard, it lets you put these white labeled manuals. So like for Beaver Builder, it just calls it Builder, and so it has like white labeled, so if anytime the user needs help, it just trains them in WordPress, which I really like. And then you can add custom dashboard widgets, so I'll put like a glowing Alexa plug, whatever the client requires. If anyone knows one, I tried to find one that was not out of date, but again, there's hide all notice. There's like a new one every day that does everything, and then it just doesn't work 3 months later because the person realized they got into more than they thought, didn't realize what they got themselves into. But there's always some hide all notices plugin. But again, you don't want to use plugins that haven't been tested. And this is like next level stuff, right? The next level stuff, I mean, and I think there was, the way that I found out about this was 10up did a WPMYC meetup, and if you go onto the WPMYC YouTube channel, right? I found it on YouTube. There's like on the WPMYC YouTube channel, just look up the 10up customizing the dashboard video, and they don't, you know, for this article, they remove everything. Literally, they just allow one image, text, no kitchen sink, no text resizing, anything. And if you have a client, you know, there's some clients, if you're really working on a larger project, you know, I did that with a client where they built something that was similar to like, it was a location directory listing, right, for like a vacation company, and you know, they didn't need all that stuff in there, and so just removed it and made it really simple for their users to use. And that can be done with things like advanced custom fields, WP toolset, and pick list. And so what that really does is it makes it, you know, if you have a client doing something over and over, and this is iterative, right? You don't have to do all this all at once. But if you have a client that's making the same mistake over and over and over again, you kind of have to ask yourself, what do I need to remove or change? And you know, if you know just a couple like hooks and some basic code, you can flip those things in and out and make it a lot easier for your user. And then finally, these are tips for users. So don't use plugins that do this. Vote with your feet and dollars. Like if you're gonna pay, you know, Beaver Builder I think is like $150 a year. I have the agency license, which is $400 a year. And you know, I pay like in the WooCommerce plugins, like for a decent WooCommerce subscription website, you're looking at $1,500, right? So if you're paying that much money, why should you accept advertisements in your dashboard, right? So like vote with your feet. Like don't, and if it's gonna take over, why am I paying $1,000 for a plugin that's going to nag my customer to like download their videos and use their support and whatever, right? That's like, did anyone know here today, like WordPress.com is now going to allow third-party plugins in the business directory? Like, you know, that's like, that's fine, but like, why would you install something that's going to like, when I tell, that's why I have my problem with Jetpack, right? Like, I already have like a backup plugin on WP Engine, and then the client says to me, I thought you already did backups. I'm like, we do via WP Engine. You can ignore Jetpack. Now you have to go figure out how to hide Jetpack notifications, right? Because it's something else to make your client think you're not doing your job. And then ask your admin developer to implement the changes above that I mentioned. And then this is like the number one thing that I try to tell clients, like you can't afford the CMS that you want, right? Like everyone, does everyone know about, hear that saying, you can't afford the plugin that you want, you can't afford the car that you want. Like people want to modify and like, you know, hammer things together to be the perfect supernova of like a CMS. It's not going to happen. But if you can't figure it out, I always direct and we live in New York City, which is awesome, right? That we have the WP help desk here. Like there's not, you know, I was just in Cuba. They don't have internet except for in like designated zones, right? And so like, I was kind of like, wow, we really, and I live in New York City where I can like, you know, I can come to this meetup every month. And so like WP help desk is here every month, and tell your clients to come to that, or tell your clients, you know, to like go on to the WordPress.org forums. Because it's not always the client's fault, right? It could be the admin's fault or the developer's fault. Right, so if anything today, delete crappy plugins, clean up your dashboard, and enjoy your WordPress install. Cool?
Yeah.
All right, if you guys want to get those slides so you don't have to take photos of everything, I did make a very cool little download page. It's bit.ly WPMYC May 2017. Cool. Any questions?
What are your thoughts on plugins like Ninja Forms or WP Forms that have a highly customized admin interface?
I hate them. I actually just had a client that had Ninja Forms and I got them. Like, I use Gravity Forms. The only thing I don't like about Gravity Forms is they don't have an affiliate section. Like, I have a bias where if a plugin doesn't allow me to get affiliate money, I should get paid for recommending your plugins.
Did they get rid of it?
Maybe you have it. If you try to log in now, it says it's closed.
Oh.
But my thing's like, if you're not gonna, I'm recommending your plugin to like 10 or 15 people a year. Shouldn't I get a little bit of love, right? It's free advertising. But like, yeah, Ninja Forms, I just recently actually used that, and it completely, yeah, and I think the problem with something like WP Ninja Forms is that you're asking a client to relearn every time they use something, right? So like there's certain things that have become ubiquitous, right? Where like the burger menu, everyone knows how to use that now, right? Like, and some people argue that the burger was amazing because it taught users, but then Facebook got rid of the burger. Then now the burger's been relegated to like the bottom right-hand corner, and now they have the thumb menu. This thing that I told them was Domino's set the bar. Does everyone know about Domino's? It's like the hottest tech company you didn't even know about, right? Like Domino's has amazing tech. They have something like 500 developers working at their company to make things run better. And the reason I bring that up is Domino's has this thing called the delivery tracker. And it's a real-time tracking thing that lets you like cheer on your delivery guy and like root for them, and then it also shows your orders come. It's really funny. But the reason I say that Domino's set the bar is that users have become so accustomed to certain things behaving and working the right way that if you're not doing those things, you're not going to keep users, right? So like, if anyone's not familiar, Ninja Forms like has its own way of like designing things, right? And WordPress, you might get like, let's say WordPress has like, I'll make it up, 100 million users, right? I'm going to say that 90 million of those users have never used Ninja Forms, but 90 million of those users have used the WordPress customizer, right? So those 90 million users are going to convince your 10 million users, Ninja Forms might have 100,000 users. Those 90 million users are going to crush those 100,000 users into submission with expectations, right? And that's why I say Domino's has crushed everyone into expectation, where I want to know where my pizza is and if the guy is like on a lunch break and what, right? Like that's the expectation that people have.
So what's the forms of choice?
I use Gravity Forms, there's a new one that is similar to Gravity Forms, WP. I think it's just called WP Forms.
Action Forms isn't that
Gravity
WP
Forms.
Forms is the.
What is
Is that-
Gravity WP Forms is the name of it.
Yeah, is that the new one? That's like, I feel like Bill Erickson, the guys from Genesis, all like that.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I really use that.
And second question, what are your thoughts on Calypso?
I think Calypso's great, and that's actually, so you, I didn't actually get a chance to really show that off, but, so I did actually build, so you can ignore, if anyone's like a front-end developer, like a JavaScript developer, you can ignore all of this and use a fully custom dashboard using a JavaScript framework. And that's what Calypso is, right? Does everyone know what Calypso is? So Calypso is it's built on React, I think, or is it? Yeah, so React is a JavaScript framework, right? So WordPress is built in PHP, but WordPress built an API, which API stands for Application Program Interface, a way for WordPress to communicate with any application. So it used to be that if you had a website that was built in WordPress and you built a bunch of blog posts, it was very difficult if you had an iOS app to get those blog posts into your iOS app, right? With the API, now you can get them into your iOS app. You can now get them into your Roku TV if you wanted. If your client is like publishing stuff, videos, you can pull that into your Roku TV using the WP API. And so one of the big